You're watching Action with podcast, and this podcast has been presented by A Star Financial Solutions UK. If you have any queries about mortgages, wealth management, property, life insurances, get in touch with A Star Financial Solutions UK. Our silver partners, New Laxmi Jewelers, for classic timepieces and jewelries, get in touch with New Laxmi Jewelers. Aldershot is where you need to go. Also, Taptap Send to send money to Nepal through a tap. Then download the app today and use the promo code ACTION10 to receive a £10 extra bonus. Our bronze partners, Nepal Authentic Dining, for yummy Nepali food in London. Get in touch with Nepal Restaurant in Boston Manor and Shepherd's Bush. And finally, Nepali Music Festival 2022, taking place on the 16th of December. We will have Sabine Rai and the Pharaoh, Igdev Limbu, Trishna Gurung, and your host will be myself. That's the spiel over. And I have with me today Samir. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Lex. Huge opportunity. feeling
Really?
feeling very honored to be here. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you for inviting me.
समयको लागि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद होइन समीरलाई चाहिँ अब कहाँबाट सुरु गर्नु मलाई नै थाहा छैन आई फिल लाइक इफ वी स्टार्ट टकिङ दिस सो मच टु टक अबाउट
Right.
तर सुरुमा लेट्स टक अबाउट समथिङ द्याट हेज ह्यापन रिसेन्टली
Okay.
गोर्खा मुभी नेपालमा पनि रिलिज भएको थियो यो सेप्टेम्बरमा
Right.
congratulations on the release and congratulations on everything that the movie has done
Yeah.
from the UK to here to lots of screenings outside, even New York.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Gurkha movie has been well received by like loads of different audience, different platform, different countries, and it had been a great experience for me as a learning process, and also to soak it in that experience of being the lead in Gurkha movie. Yeah.
र गोर्खा मुभीको बारेमा कुरा गर्दाखेरि जुन बेला यो सुरु भयो पेन्डेमिकभन्दा अगाडि र पेन्डेमिकको बिचमा पनि धेरै प्रमोसन्सको लागि यु नो द टिम दौडिनु परेको थियो भर्चुअली होइन
Mm-hmm.
समटाइम्स विच इज इभन मोर टायरिङ
Yeah.
अनि पेन्डेमिक पछाडि भन्दाखेरि पेन्डेमिकको बिचबिचमा नै अल्डरसुटको स्क्रिनिङहरू हुन थाल्यो होइन
Right.
अनि त्यस पछाडि यो सालमा चाहिँ अलिकति भव्य तरिकाले नै फिल्मको डिस्ट्रिब्युसन र स्क्रिनिङ अगाडि बढ्यो नि त फर्केर हेर्दाखेरि how does that make you feel? Because sometimes I felt for the cast and the team like, wow, they've been talking about this movie for so long.
Yeah.
About that, अलिकति, you know, sometimes अलिक tired पनि हुन्छ कि, but because it's such a, you know, it's a project which I believe is so personal for everyone. So, you know, is there a bit of that, you know, let's get this done and seen by as many people as possible?
Yeah, 100%. It has been in the process for a very long time. पहिला हामीले कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ I think back in 2015 we talked about it. Me and Pradeep we were talking about it, like, oh yeah, we probably have to do a skit in Gurkhas, um, which were like quite like privileged to be here is because of the background of our dad being in a Gurkha, and अनि त्यो कुराहरू चाहिँ like it wasn't seen in the main media, mass media, and like also त्यो कुरा चाहिँ रिफ्लेक्ट गर्नु हाइलाइट्स गर्नु चाहिँ एकदमै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ जस्तो लागेर चाहिँ we were talking about 2015 तिर नै that like we probably plan out like to do a skit, सानो सानो कुराहरू गरौँ बरु like maybe mini series जस्तो बनाएर we can probably promote it भन्ने कुरा गरिरहेको थियो. But later on process गयो त्यसपछि there's new draft of the whole movie come out अनि short movie गर्ने plan भयो अनि फेरि अर्को ड्राफ्टमा फेरि अर्को मुभी गर्ने भने सो ड्राफ्टहरू कति पछि चाहिँ लाइक हामीले चाहिँ पहिला चाहिँ सुरुमा चाहिँ फिक्सनल काइन्ड अफ थियो पछि चाहिँ लेटर अन वी प्रोग्रेस टु लाइक ओके लेट्स वर्क अन बेस्ड अन द ट्रु इभेन्ट्स बिकज देयर सो मेनी स्टोरिज अनटोल्ड हाम्रै गोर्खाको बाबुबाजेहरूको कथाहरू यति धेरै छ कि द्याट लाइक वी डोन्ट निड टु रिलाइ अन फिक्सनल स्टोरी त्यो भनेर चाहिँ लाइक वी प्लान आउट अनि प्रदीप बेसिकली रोट द होल स्टोरी बेस्ड अन द ट्रु इभेन्ट्स अनि जुन चाहिँ हाम्रो फर्स्ट भिक्टोरिया क्रस पाउनुभएको कुलवीर थापाको बारेमा चाहिँ कसरी पाउनुभयो उहाँले चाहिँ त्यो भूमिका बाँधेर चाहिँ लेख्नुभयो अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ वी गन थ्रु सो मेनी रिहर्सल्स एन्ड we gone through like so many process of like fundraising for the movie and त्यसपछि फेरि सुट गर्यो सुटपछि पनि post productions पछि like COVID happened and then like it just stretched further and further, so after like 7-8 years it just coming as a fruit, which we finally able to release like all over different places. It's not out in digital yet, which we hopefully will be out in coming future. But we went to different cinemas to see like lots of people reactions, and it was like coming back to live. The story that we created, it came as live to impact in so many different people as well. अनि उहाँहरूको फिडब्याकहरू सुन्दाखेरि अनि to get like a direct comment on it, and also like sometimes like when we are a part of the audience, we get to sit down with them and like interact with them. And the greatest thing that have happened from this project itself was to meet Kulbir Thapako descendants families in Nepal, like when we did the first premiere show in Nepal in Kathmandu, and it was like really shocking but very pleasantly surprising moment, किनभने when we started this project, we had no clue about
Yeah.
where their family is. Also, based regarding him, there was like only 4 paragraphs written in the history book. So त्यो मेटिन लागेको इतिहासलाई भनौँ न, त्यो like त्यो which was like a nearly finished history, like we rewrote it and like we got connected with like these descendants of Kulbir Thapa. And it was like really pleasing, and they were very happy about the movie itself. And उहाँहरूले चाहिँ अनि आफ्नो बाउबाजेहरूको चाहिँ बारेमा त्यसरी बनाइदिएको भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ like they were so happy, अनि like हामीसँग चाहिँ लाइभ इन्टरेक्सन गर्ने अन्त
Right.
ओहो हाम्रो बाजे त कस्तो यङ हुनुहुँदो रहेछ, हाम्रो बोजू त कस्तो यङ हुनुहुँदो रहेछ गाउँमा आएर देखेर चाहिँ. अनि
Yeah.
अनि it was such a delightful experience.
Yeah.
अनि त्यो कुरा चाहिँ हुँदैन थियो होला यदि if we didn't make this movie
Of
itself.
course.
अनि so like कति कुराहरू चाहिँ हाम्रो हराउँदै गइरहेको छ कि यस्तै हिस्ट्रीहरू. अनि just to gather and just to keep that legacy alive, just to preserve that history, which has been like a biggest part in हाम्रो growthमा. I think it's quite important to make a movie like such.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
No,
been
definitely.
amazing experience.
I think it's such a honorable project for everyone to be involved, whether you are someone who's visible in the movie or in the backgrounds as well.
Yeah.
There's just, it's not just a film. It's something that's going to be archived. It's,
Yeah.
one of the first times that someone has created a story on Gurkhas that's coming from the angle, storytelling perspective of a Nepali person as well. And, I think I've spoken to Pradeep on the podcast. I've spoken to Gaumaya on the podcast as well. And now finally we've managed to find time to get you on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think, well done to everyone involved. र अर्को कुरा चाहिँ के सोध्नु मन थियो भने on a personal level र एङ्गलमा चाहिँ है कति धेरै चिजहरू हामीले गरिन्छ सुरु गर्छौँ
हजुर.
अनि कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ हामीलाई कस्तो थाकेको फिल हुन्छ नि त होइन.
Right, yeah.
And त्यस्तो मोमेन्टमा चाहिँ what do you focus on, or what do you kind of reach out to get you going, to get your energy back?
Right. I think it's mainly important is the objective itself. हामीले किन गर्न खोजिरहेको, why are we doing that, and why you started that project initially. That will keep you going till the end, just लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ. अनि कति कुराहरू चाहिँ we as a human, like we tend to start and just end it without like finishing the project, because like we don't strongly believe in it. We don't we just do for the sake of doing it sometimes. अनि यसमा चाहिँ I think like loads of this project itself was like quite meaningful to me. अनि also it was meaningful to so many cast and crews. अनि सबैले voluntarily बेसिसमा युसमा यो मुभीमा काम गरेको थियो. अनि they put so much work and dedication towards this movie. And it's also because of their dedications you feel that you have to push yourself forward, and you have to give that consistently. जस्तो पनि हुँदो रहेछ. अनि त्यो एउटा threadमा चाहिँ you all get knotted on. अनि त्यो भएको हुनाले चाहिँ it kinds of like सबै is going towards the same aim and ambitions, same objectives. त्यो भएको हुनाले चाहिँ it's easier because like sometimes like I might lack the energy but Goma has the energy to bounce me back. Sometimes
Yeah.
Pradeep might not have the energy and like I'll be asking like okay कसरी हुँदैछ के हुँदैछ then yeah it's just kind of like it goes within the circle अनि त्यसपछि like सबैले एकअर्कालाई चाहिँ energy pass गरेर नै like we kept on going अनि finally product आयो when it actually came out in Nepal अनि ठुलो main पर्दामा ठुलो हलमा जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ I felt like oh finally done भएको थियो तर at the same time like I felt like hold on a second like कति धेरै मान्छेलाई चाहिँ अझै देखाउनु छ पनि त बाँकी there's so many audience that we have to reach out to अनि त्यो अनुसार चाहिँ we haven't reached out to so many audiences yet त्यो कारणले चाहिँ it has to go in a digital platform and at one point and just hopefully it will get reached out to many people like who want to see who couldn't be there for premiere and on a cinema screening ma. So hopefully the project hasn't ended yet so it's still going on so kind of like to keep on going to do for promotions and everything is it's a bit tiring but at the same time it's what you involve yourself with what do you so kind of like because I indulge with it because of that factor when I say to why drive it keeps me moving on further and further.
And hopefully Gurkha Beneath Bravery will be released on digital platforms soon and more people will be able to see it. I would definitely encourage people to kind of find ways to watch it as well. When I first saw it, Aldershot ma, the screening ma, I was quite surprised at how great of a product that you guys ended up creating with, you know, such I guess sometimes limited resources that you guys were working with. So that was quite impressive. र अर्को कुरा चाहिँ के पनि भन्नु मन थियो भने acting होइन it really depends on how you know how someone who might be listening to this podcast knows you, but there's so many different avenues that someone might know you via, right? So back in the days when we first initially met, you were part of quite a lot of skits and promotional videos that were promoting PARCHA events. And त्यसमा पनि obviously there's acting involved, but you know, I did not know that you would end up pursuing this line of work, but was acting something that you always had interest in as a young person?
Acting has always been, definitely something that I was so very passionate of. But I wasn't clear from the start that that's the line that I wanted to go to. That's the career that I wanted to have. So during that phase of unclear phases, I tried so many different things, but like keeping acting on side as a hobby, just doing like loads of skits, loads of short movies, music videos, commercials. यताउता गरिरहेँ भनौँ न consistently like every year I was producing like a few short movies अनि आफूलाई चाहिँ त्यो स्क्रिन टेस्ट चाहिँ गराइरहेको थिएँ अनि सानैबाट पनि like I was always like oh yeah I really want to be on a stage like a theater kind of like त्यो मन चाहिँ थियो तर kind of halfway through like loads of other interests that took my time, took my energy अनि त्यो जर्नीबाट चाहिँ like acting चाहिँ नि start भएको हो अनि त्यसबाट चाहिँ like while I was going through that process slowly and eventually I ended up feeling like hold on a second, this is something I really love and I can be so good at it, which I have like so many different interests but acting has always been my priority and acting has always been something like I can really connect myself with अनि त्यो भएको हुनाले चाहिँ I felt like okay this is something like I want to go forward with and I left everything behind and so this is the path I'm taking and it is still the beginning of the journey.
That's quite exciting,
yeah,
right? Because that you know you juggle a lot of responsibilities / roles and so on, and now like you know acting is that one thing which is slightly above all of that.
Yes,
which is right? Who would have thought?
I know. It's been a really amazing journey, Mansu. Like the way how we started. Like I think back in 2008, if you remember or not, like we did like Apple Revolution
Yeah.
with Laxmi. I think that was the first like where I felt like I acted, short like a Nep
Mm-hmm.
Unity
Yes.
videos. And then after that, like PARCHA, like so many skits we were doing like parodies after parodies, mimicking so many different great actors, and then like working on different side projects, independent projects, and just keeping that, always being on the lane, always being in that field, always trying to create, be more creative towards like how I can exhibit myself
Mm-hmm.
in the form of acting. They would say like I was consistent in doing it, and then finally I found out like 3 years ago that I was like, okay, this is it. Either this or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The other thing that I wanted to mention was back in the days, like when you mentioned about Apple Revolution or Nep Unity
Yeah.
go, um, it's almost like, Kiba, you guys go back in time, right? No?
Yeah,
You
it
guys go
was
back. The Titi Balasan, I think we saw you as a dancer, and we
right.
felt like we're seeing a dancer on
Yeah.
YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Now, so but ultimately we're all everything kind of intersects, no?
Yeah,
So you're
100%.
acting as well and also dancing,
Yeah.
and your identity as a dancer was much more stronger back then.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we'll talk about dancing in a bit,
Yeah,
but
sure.
is dancing something which you would love to kind of bring to your new area as an actor?
Maybe, maybe not. But it's one of the pays I've just kind of like stick the glue and just
I
fold it
see.
there. But obviously it's within me. I don't think like I can ever call myself like I'm out of it. Because like
It's in
dance
the
has
blood.
always
Oh.
been on me, like ever since my
Uh-huh.
childhood. Like I've always been known as a dancer.
Hmm.
Always loved performing. Yeah, always loved learning like a new way of moving the body, and like the movement as well, of the body, experiencing like a different way of doing things, especially in movement. So always was fascinated with dance. At the moment, I'm not doing much. I'm not doing as much as I used to do it, like as in competitive level or any. But now I've kind of like wanted to focus more on my acting career.
Hmm.
And obviously, dance is something I can just take off my sleeves, and just like perform like anywhere that requires me to do.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, great shout. It's, everything in our journey has a time, and
Yeah.
sometimes we pause, sometimes we stop,
Yeah.
sometimes later on we restart it, but in a kind of different fashion as well. But equally, like when at that time when you were dancing, I think you
Mm.
were able to achieve, participate and do a lot, and create and be part of a community as well.
Yeah.
I think not a lot of people end up dabbling in so many different things and being good at it. But I think you've been
Yeah.
able to showcase that, which is great.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I always believed that I was a dancer, before I realized that I was an actor. Uh, yeah, even when I was doing like this Apple Revolution, that was like a first, kind of like a digital shorts that we did. Even that, like we performed a little bit, and then we went to like a different space or different like a
Mm,
dimension, and then like we were performing dance because of that, like a transition in different multi-layered universe kind of stuff,
yeah.
which we were doing like back in 2008. um and then slowly I was getting into it, and like especially with the dance as well, like because I was competing in so many different platforms, and it has always been me. A lot of my friends that I'm really tied up with is obviously because of my dance.
Mm,
I have like so many casting of friends who I'm really close with is through dancing as well. So it's always been part of me, and hopefully one day like I
mhm.
will get back on it again and just, yeah,
That's exciting.
bust out some moves.
Yeah, you can bust out some moves, or we'll see you in a Nepali film rolling across the hills or something, which is
Oh,
dance too.
yeah, why not? Yeah, I think,
uh,
yeah. This to I want to back it up. Like there's
uh-huh.
so many, I believe that there's so many things that I've worked on, I've trained on, I've experienced on, that are yet to exhibit,
Yeah.
especially in Nepali movies as well. अनि त्यो कुराहरू चाहिँ सबै like I think I'm ready and I'm preparing for it. अनि so yeah, there will be a big movement that will come up like yeah once I'm there.
Yeah. So besides, and before we move on to other topics as well, but
Okay.
besides Gurkha Beneath the Bravery, you've done quite a lot, like within the acting scene, whether it's working in behind the scenes for different non-Nepali projects, or also having slightly smaller roles
हजुर.
in projects outside of Nepal. But also, you've also done another project, right? फुलबारीमा पनि गराएको छ नि त होइन?
Oh yeah.
So फुलबारी भयो. There's the tiger's nest पनि
Yeah.
भयो होइन?
Yeah.
And I believe you've done quite a lot of extra work and other acting work, small acting work in
Yeah.
different thingsहरू. अनि यस्तो यो समयमा जुन तरिकाको आफ्नो एक्सपिरियन्सहरू आफूले बटुलेको छ नि, त्यसमा चाहिँ अब नेपालमा नेपाली टिमसँग काम गर्न र अब बाहिरको होइन नन नेपाली टिम जति नै ठुलो या सानो फिल्म हुन्छ
Yeah.
त्यसमा चाहिँ कस्तो खालको सिमिल्यारिटिज या भिन्नताहरू आफूले पाएको छ?
I mean, similarity is like you be on a set, you stay professional, you be on time, and you get to learn every day. Every set, you get to learn like new things all the time. Differences, sometime the other end might not feel the same as what you're expecting. Like there's quite a difference between like because I've probably done extras in more than hundreds of film.
Wow.
Like yeah, definitely because I started like back in 9 years ago doing extras work. So I've been in the background, a little bit of standing here and there. I'm still doing like so here and there, like I'm still doing because I want to surround myself within the film productions projects, and so those kind of like each and every set has their own different dimensions, different new thing to learn, a new thing to experience. And regards to similarities, I think like that is the main thing. Like that keeps me going every time. Like you be on set, like you feel, oh no, I wish I was on the other end, or I wish I was playing the main lead, or I wish I was better at like being on the camera. So many things that goes in my thought process. Differences is like with regards to like international projects and Nepali projects. I think some of the work, even in international projects, like I found it bit lack of professionality. दुइटैमै छ like differences भन्दा पनि I think like that's also similar. कतै कतै चाहिँ like the whole production team are actually trying to achieve something, and they're not an actor is not their priority sometimes. They just really focus on like technical stuff only. And a lot of the time that they'll be like, oh, it was good, that shot was good, but they don't mean that you acted good. They mean that the whole lighting and the setup
It
and
looked good.
technical
Yeah.
looked good, you know. So even on an international project, when I worked, I felt like I was like I was not like looked after well in terms of like, oh, they were not looking at my acting. They were more interested in like how setting up the lights and setting up the environment for the whole film. But whereas like when I worked in Gurkha movie, I was the main lead, and they were solely focused on me. Even on Fulbari, it was like, yeah, I don't have much scene, but it's just like a very small part. But I really wanted to experience that, and it was such an honor to work with the team of Fulbari. And त्यसमा चाहिँ they were very focused on like actor as well. And like the good thing about it is like you Nepali projects must say you can connect it so well, especially probably because because I'm from Nepal, and you have like so many things in common, like a culture, languages, and everything. Like you can talk about things, and then you can connect it quite easily. And then whereas in international projects there are different means to connect it, but still there's I don't know, like differences was like I don't know like how to say it, but there is still like you feel different energy in
I
different
see.
places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's really fascinating to hear, and I guess you would have that experience and to hear it from you because
Yeah.
obviously you've been able to work in so many different projects, not only films. When you were saying it, it literally reminded me of the time that where you were telling me that you went to do the dancing for one of Fatboy Slim's music video.
Oh,
But I
that
mean that
was,
was a
oh my
long
God.
time, and then
Yeah.
but you were also on the McDonald's advert as well.
Oh yeah,
That was more like
it
in the
was not
past.
actually Fatboy Slim ko music video होइन त्यो
Anyway, oh,
we were on the Fatboy Slim
house.
house.
Yes.
We were filming for the artist called Two Bears.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I did perform for that music video. अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ yeah, and then with McDonald's ad as well, like it was quite fun, which I did last year.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking to post it like very soon because I haven't posted anywhere else.
Oh, have you not?
No, I haven't
Oh, okay.
posted that video
Oh,
in
okay.
my social platform, but it's always been it was in McDonald's social platform, but I haven't posted in mine.
Oh, well, I posted it. I was like, oh, look, Samir.
I mean, I
Shout
think
out.
I shared this story,
You probably shared the
but I
story.
haven't actually posted on my feed yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're saying like, oh yeah, claiming the fame. But then yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the little projects that I did with McDonald's as well, like because they were doing like collaborations with Little Loto, and
Yeah.
this was yeah, through my agency I got that role, and I was fortunate to do that part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really exciting, and it's nice to see different faces on screen, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
Obviously, in terms of like color, making things more diverse and inclusive, it's something that people are working towards. It can be argued whether people are actually doing it or not. That's another thing. But in your experience as someone, who's represents, Nepal, a brown person, trying to acting, how is it for you?
Welcome to A Star, your complete financial solution. The A stands for first class service and the star relates to you, our most important clients. We are a team of whole market advisors with more than 10 years of excellent service. Serving nationwide, we specialized in home mortgages and remortgages, wills and estate planning, residential sales and lettings, property management, real estates, insurances and pensions. For both personal and business financial advices, please feel free to contact us for consultant. We look forward to working with you. A Star Financial Solution, making your move memorable.
Process has been quite drift. I mean, it has been really. I don't know how to put it out in a word, but
You can dance
especially,
it
sorry,
out. You can dance it out.
dude, I can dance it out. Oh, I can dance my words out, probably.
Okay. Poetry. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, regards to that inclusivity, diversity, diverse, it's coming up. Like it's only been quite vivid out there for last 3-4 years. When I started doing like background work and extra work last 9 years ago, there were not much of it. Like you can get like probably 1 or 2 projects per year. Maybe I was new, maybe I was not professional then, but it was just taking me on board was like quite hard for like a background agency and stuff as well, and also in the main cinemas and like as a main lead, like you hardly get to see like as a like an Asian face on it. So it was always difficult for me to associate like who my idols are, especially because I've never seen someone like me who actually made it to that bigger platform. So I always question myself like, can I really make it? Can I really make it? But then eventually now, since the diverse, they're being like they're including all different part of the race, different gender, different sexual orientation, different faces. So like it's quite prominent. It feels like this is our time. Next 5 years probably going to be like quite prominent for like people like us, and like especially for younger people, like whoever is interested in this kind of like platform, this kind of career. Then I think there is a chance now, which I used to hardly see like back then, like back in like 9 8 9 years ago. अहिले चाहिँ there's so many projects that like people get invited to, and like I'm back to back quite busy with like work because of that as well, like because
Yeah.
they're now appreciating the fact like we look different.
Yeah, that's so reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
And I hope like, that becomes the norm and it's not just like a thing that's happening right now, because of the events of like, the past few years and so on. But yeah, we get to see a better representation and an accurate representation and storytelling as well.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed and all the best
Hopefully,
for
yeah,
that
finger
journey
crossed
too.
it will stay like that, and yeah, it will stay as a norm.
Yeah.
Because that it has to.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on is obviously Parcha. You are a huge part of Parcha, and Parcha is something that has touched the lives of so many UK Nepalis from early 2010s and so on. June Festival is like a mammoth event,
Yeah.
which yeah, it's like a musical destination for people. How did that come about? In short.
In short, because if I have to talk about Parcha, it will probably be like a very long, because it's so connected with me, and there's so many experience I have gone through Parcha. To start back, because we were just in a party, like a house party ma. I met Nawal and Bikrant both like and we were just thinking like, okay, yeah, maybe like we should just organize an event भन्ने चाहिँ प्लान थियो त्यतिखेर चाहिँ. अनि त्यतिखेर चाहिँ कस्तो थियो भने ब्याक इन 2009 2008 तिर चाहिँ there were like a few Nepali party, like not as prominent, not as big, अनि not as unified भनौँ न. सो लाइक एकदमै स्क्याटर्ड भर्सनमा भएको हुन्थ्यो. कोही एउटा दुइटा फोक्सटनमा, कोही लाइक लन्डनमा, कोही एउटा एकदमै रेयरली इन अल द सो त्यस्तो चाहिँ यु वुड गेट one or two. But then there was like one in Ealing as well actually back then. अनि त्यतिखेर चाहिँ like we realized like hold on a second, like because there's so many Nepali people like live in the UK on the different corners मा छ. Why don't we organize an event like where we invite like everyone from all part of like UK, and then like we celebrate that as like a एउटा event ma, and the unified version of like a Nepali community coming together in one place. And that's how we invented this first event like as a आउनै पर्छ. And we were like, oh, त्यो इभेन्टमा चाहिँ आउनै पर्छ भनेर sort of like we invented that event, and त्यसपछि we organized that event. And त्यतिखेर चाहिँ we saw like a huge people, like about almost like 1,000 people coming from different end. And 1,000 people back then was like a quite big ask, because there had never been such a huge audience को like or crowd को एउटा events नै भएको थिएन. अनि त्यतिखेर 1,000 people were like, oh wow, like we did it भन्ने चाहिँ moment feel भएको थियो. अनि then we started thinking like, hold on a second, like there's so many different talents who actually lives in different corner of the UK, like why don't we promote them, because they're aspiring, and YouTube was just coming up then. And then you get to see like one or two videos in the YouTube, like people uploaded, and we really wanted to push those young people who are really talented in different part of their life, especially in creative aspects. So we try to nurture them, try to like promote them as much as possible, and we try to create a platform for them to come together, like where they can showcase their talent. And that's how like we started growing as a PARCHA. And we did so many events, almost more than 100 actually. Yeah, it's been 13 years now. We did you can name it like any creative event that we did. I think like
of course, fashion shows, art exhibitions, storytelling workshop. I think actors coming and talking, etc.
Yes,
I think there's been a lot.
and sports events like Jitnai Parcha. We launched a magazine as well.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, we did like concerts. Yeah, we invited like international guest, international musician. We did Nepali musician in international platforms, such as Wembley Arena. Yeah, we did like so many events. Uh, the reason why we did was like it's only because like we wanted to push Nepali music further, and also Nepali creativity further out in the world in a wider audience. And yeah, and then it is still going on.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think you guys have definitely excelled in kind of pushing the boundaries and going to places or venues that, our community hadn't before.
Yeah,
Also inspiring a lot of young Nepalis, not just young, but people of all ages along the way to keep
yeah,
going. Um, you started as a team of three, but Parcha has expanded.
yeah,
There's a few different people and so on. There's different collectives and so on.
yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, like, as yourself, what did you or what do you continue to bring to Parcha in terms of are you the person who's asking or pushing for more like certain creative events, or are
Hmm.
you more of the person who's kind of like getting I don't know the resources or people
Right.
to deliver the events?
Um, at the moment, personally, for me, like in an individual personal way, like, um, I'm I'm at the point like where I'm kind of like backtracking from Parcha events, only solely because I want to focus more on my acting career. Um, but like obviously, regarding Parcha, like what we dreamed of, what we expected, like one day we're gonna have such and such kind of event. We kind of like did it in the international platforms, bringing international guests around, and we did like so many different events with the different caliber. अनि त्यो एउटा we kind of like took it to the next level that um is still to touch that bar, like it's still like a loads of different organizersहरूलाई चाहिँ त्यो अलिकति गाह्रो चाहिँ भएको छ. अनि it hasn't progressed further than that जस्तो like त्यो चाहिँ मलाई इन्डिभिजुअली चाहिँ लागिरहेको छ पर्सनली चाहिँ. अनि त्यो once someone like raise that bar like to next level, then I would probably think of like doing something further than that. But at the same time, like now what I'm feeling is like, okay, त्यो हामीले गरिसक्यो कुरा चाहिँ फेरि repetitive तरिकाले चाहिँ गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ we kind of like, okay, we are exhibiting, we are giving platforms to all these young people, young talented artists from like Nepal अनि बाहिरको आर्टिस्टहरू पनि. तर at the same time, like we really need to do something more जस्तो चाहिँ always. That's what I feel like, and that's how Noel feels as well. That's how like हाम्रो टिमको दिपेन्द्र दाई, Amar, they feel the same as well, like to take it to next level. But at the same time, like so many events go doings or but I'd say like I'm kind of like a backtracking for myself for at least a year or two, because I solely want to focus on myself for, at the moment, and my acting career. So yeah, at the moment, like I'm not taking to well, I am not taking myself into next level, but I think my team, who has that aspiration to take it to next level, they are discussing and they are doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the beauty of being in a team. So
Yeah.
sometimes when you want to kind of take a pause, the
Yeah.
others, will be
Right.
responsible enough to kind of carry it forward. And
Yeah.
yeah, you guys have been there for a really long time.
Yeah,
So
this is the
sometimes,
first time I'm taking a pause, but yeah,
yeah.
after so many years, and I was like, "Do you know what? I really need to focus on myself as well." So, and I believe what we wanted to do from Parcha, we kind of like already did
Yeah.
in so many levels. Being as a community champion, pushing our community further than what there has ever been. So we are really proud of that, proud of the work that we did in the past. And like I think now, since there is like so many social media, so many platforms, like so people who are not privileged enough to actually perform can get like platforms as well these days.
Of course,
So
yeah.
which back then was like very rare and very hard to find.
No, definitely. I
Mm.
think social media has unlocked so many, I don't know, gates
Yeah.
and made it so much possible for it. But before, one would look towards events that Parcha created,
Mm.
which is incredible. But
Mm.
well, nice to talk about Parcha in a kind of short, I don't know,
Short
maybe
way.
10-minute fashion.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to touch on was you lightly kind of mentioned it in terms of, words and dancing with words, which I think you were saying as poetry.
Yeah.
So, कविताहरू पनि भन्नुमा अलिकति आफू धेरै राम्रो छ नि त होइन अनि सो त्यही कारणले पनि मलाई सोध्नु मन थियो यो
हजुर.
कविता भन्ने चाहिँ
Mm.
कहिलेदेखि सुरु भएको because I did not realize that you had it in you भनेर
ओके कविता भन्नु चाहिँ मलाई सानैबाट रुचि हो खास चाहिँ मेरो एउटा लाइक एकदमै मिल्ने दाई हुनुहुन्थ्यो दयाराम पन्त भन्ने दाई अनि लाइक आई थिङ्क बिकज अफ हिम इज वेल लाइक आई वाज इन्टु पोएम्स बिकज हि युज टु राइट लट्स अफ ब्युटिफुल पोएम्स अनि उहाँले चाहिँ सेयर गर्नुहुन्थ्यो कि जहिले पनि सानोमा हुँदाखेरि अनि त्यसपछि उहाँले चाहिँ गाइडेन्सहरू गर्नुहुन्थ्यो त्यो गाइडेन्सबाट नै लाइक आई वाज सो मच इन्ट्रेस्टेड इन लाइक लर्निङ लाइक सो मेनी डिफ्रेन्ट पोइम्स अफ डिफ्रेन्ट ग्रेट लिटरेचर राइटर्सहरूबाट अनि त्यसपछि सानैबाट त्यो ब्याकग्राउन्डमा हुर्किएँ भनौँ न काइन्ड अफ लाइक आई वाज टेकिङ पार्ट इन पोइम कम्पिटिसन्स इन स्कुल अनि हाई स्कुलमा गएर पनि आई वाज पर्फर्मिङ पोइट्री रिसाइटिङ पोइम्स इन डिफ्रेन्ट प्लेटफर्म्स and त्यो kind of like एउटा background भएको हुनाले I was always interested in writing poems, getting the emotions out, putting in the words, and just leave it there. Uh, yeah, as I progressed, and it kind of like grew in me. झन् भन्दा झन् धेरै त्यो भावनाहरू एकदमै उथल पुथल भएर निस्कियो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भावनाहरूलाई चाहिँ एउटा कापी र कलमले चाहिँ सिँगारेर एउटा सजाउनुपर्छ भन्ने जस्तो चाहिँ मलाई सधैँ लागिरहेको थियो अनि त्यसरी नै मैले लेख्ने क्रम अगाडि जारी राखेँ लाइक होपफुली वान डे आई वुड बी एबल टु पब्लिस माई पोएम्स त्यो चाहिँ अब होपफुली अब एउटा वान अफ द माइलस्टोन आई वान चेक अन in upcoming days, yeah, definitely एउटा बुक चाहिँ लेख्नु मन छ as in there are so many poems that I've already wrote that can form as a book, but I want to kind of like retouch and go back and look at the scenarios like whether I can still connect those poems or not. And so अहिले चाहिँ pretty much just filing up गरिरहेको छु सबै अनि yeah, I think with the amount of poems I have, I can probably publish 5 books.
Wow.
But then yeah, I want to shorten it up and probably
अनि
just
यो
publish
कविता
one.
लेख्दाखेरि चाहिँ सबै चाहिँ आफ्नै पर्सनल एक्सपिरियन्सहरूलाई चाहिँ आफूले लेखिएको हुन्छ कि or do you also sometimes write thinking about यस्तो भएको भए को मान्छेहरू चाहिँ त्यस्तो
Yeah.
स्टोरी टेलिङ पर्सपेक्टिभले
Yeah,
नि they try to think of एउटा certain dukha or sukha and then write from that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask, is yours more personal or
Lots of my poems are really personal. There are at the same time, I do write from the third party as well. Like when I hear some of the beautiful things that they've gone through, also some of the struggle that the people gone through, my own close friends, I write from their perspective as well. उहाँलाई कसरी फिल भयो होला त्यो कुरा भन्ने कुराबाट नि मैले लेखिरहेको हुन्छु अनि जस्ट रिसेन्टली मैले चाहिँ एउटा मलाई चाहिँ आइरहेको छ कि एउटा मेटाफोरको अनुसार चाहिँ तर मैले लेखि चाहिँ सकेको छुइनँ cause like I'm still trying to connect those dots in my head. तर यस मैले चाहिँ म एउटा झिङ्गा भएर कविता लेखिरहेको छु कि अनि त्यो झिङ्गाको उसको जीवन र मेरो जीवन एकदमै सिमिलर छ भन्ने तरिकाबाट चाहिँ लेख्दैछु तर it's all in my head like but I'm connecting through it. So I find inspiration from every end that I associate myself with. अनि लाइफको ब्युटिफुल थिङ्स नै त्यही होला जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई जस्ट आफ्नो मात्रै लाइफ नभएर जस्ट डिफ्रेन्ट अदर लाइफलाई पनि आफूले बुझ्ने प्रयास गरेर उहाँहरूको लाइफ जिउने एउटा आधार बनाउन सकियो भने अनि I think that would be the meaning of my poem, I think would be.
That's really beautiful, what you said there. I think if more of us approach life from that angle, I think we'd see much more clarity, and I guess, a light in how we go about life as well. Um, and I hope I'm listening, poetry by Samir.
Hopefully.
को किताबहरू
Yeah.
हामीले पाउँछौँ होला भनेर.
Yeah, poetry by Shishi.
Poetry by Shishi.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be Shishi would be my poetry stage name. Yeah.
Shishi चाहिँ कहाँबाट आयो नि नाम?
Shishi चाहिँ खास आएको नाम चाहिँ डान्सबाट हो. When I was dancing, like when I was doing break dancing, and like a lot of people, it kept on deriving from different stages, and it shortened and shortened, shortened and shortened. भएको भन्दा चाहिँ Shishi मात्रै बाँकी भएको कुरा हो. अनि सिसी वर्डबाट चाहिँ आई थिङ्क it has a very deeper meaning to what I am जस्तो लाग्छ. अनि मेरो भावनाहरू पनि त्यही सिसीमै अड्किरहेको छ जस्तो लाग्छ. अनि त्यही सिसीमा नै सिसीको द्वारा नै I wanna publish the whole story about my life and other people's life that surround with
I
myself.
love it. That's so deep. Sometimes people are like, "Yतिकै आयो खालको." I've had guests on the podcast and they're
यत्तिकै
like,
केही पनि आउँदैन जस्तो
"यतिकै
लाग्छ.
आयो." अनि को त आउँदो रहेछ.
हो र? खै, I don't know, like I think like you still go through the thought process and you go through so many different thought process and it might come as a strike, it might come as like a lightning, but I think like people are always going through different experience and past moments that like they come back as like, oh, it just came as a fit. But
Yeah,
I
like
think
so subconsciously something is always building up.
Yeah.
And we might think actually it just happened in 0.5 seconds, but then but maybe some of us may not realize that there's been a whole backlog of build up, right?
Right, yeah.
That makes sense too.
Yeah, that's what I feel like, yeah.
Yeah. So 2022 has been a very, very busy year for you. I know अब Gurkha movie release भयो, अब त्यो बाहेक पनि धेरै वर्कहरुमा involved भयो, Fullbari पनि मा पनि you got to act. June Festival came back after 1.5 years, 2 years?
2 years.
After 2 years.
Yeah, the last one was 2019 and we did in 2022, yeah.
So what has been the most memorable part of this year?
Of this year?
Yeah.
Moment? This year was a chaos. Yeah, this year was like chaos because the stage that we built on, and we wanted to go bigger than what it was in 2019. We invested a lot of money, and we wanted to go like bigger than it ever was.
We're talking about June Festival.
June Festival, okay. Right? You were.
No, I was saying what's the most memorable moment this year overall?
Oh, this year overall.
Yeah.
Let's go back to June Festival and then I'll go back to what has been, because I was thinking like you were asking about the June Festival custom by your moment. June Festival but say like because we invested a lot, like, and then it was also because there was so many challenges that we faced this year. Even though we wanted to go really big, really in a better form, just because of like unprecedented situations and also something like which was unforeseen because of the weather conditions and stuff. So stage that we built was like kind of like a damage, so it had to de-rig for the health and safety purposes, and then it was like squashed down to like maybe 1/3 of it. And then like luckily the whole artists, like they still were okay to perform there because they already made the journey to be performing in June Festival, and it was such an embarrassing moment, but at the same time we pulled it off. We kind of like delivered what we promised, but in terms of like entertainment level. However, I think like next year is going to be like even if we go back to like 2019 form, like I think it's still gonna be rocking as much as like a better. Well, it would be much better than what we had in 2022. So that was about June Festival, and it's still in a growing pace once June Festival, say, and because the teams are like so in it. Our teams are so good at it, especially in the musical events. Regarding 2022 experience overall, I'd say the most memorable would probably be just going for the promotions for Gurkha movie. Also finding myself, I'm training 10 times harder than what I used to. I'm finding out new things. This year, whatever I learned this year was 10 times more than what I learned last 10 years, just like so, in forms of in the form of acting, in form of like doing physical activities and stuff. So it's I'm pushing myself in the next level. So kind of like I'm training so much and I'm finding myself, and also all these things would have not been possible without the combined efforts of my family, friends, close friends, अनि त्यो support system नभएको भए चाहिँ हुँदैन थियो होला. तर त्यही कारण चाहिँ big hats off to them as well. Because of them, I think I'm in this profound place where I can push myself to the next level. त्यो चाहिँ यो yearको चाहिँ moment of okay, getting it right भन्ने छ. Next yearको plan चाहिँ getting it done भन्ने चाहिँ that's what I'm hoping for. And so yeah, loads of opportunities are coming my way. That's
Yeah.
how I feel.
I love
And
that.
I'm manifesting every day, I'm training every day. And yeah, it has been like a really educational, at the same time really uplifting moment for me for the this year.
So 2022 seems like the perfect year. I mean, a lot has happened, but
Yeah.
like, you know, a lot of reflection and learning has been, you know, happening as well. 23, you said getting things done. Do you see that, you know, do you see there being any kind of barrier that might kind of get in your way of getting things done?
There's always going to be a barrier. I think that's what I'm getting ready for. That's what I'm preparing for. There's always going to be a struggle. Yeah, and struggle will go on throughout your lifetime. That's what I believe on. But life have to go on as well. So I think like there's going to be lots of barrier, but I'm kind of like a ready and open to take those barrier and overcome it, and hopefully I will have that courage and energy and the same support system to fight it and challenge it as much as I can. Yeah, so yeah,
I love that.
that's what I'm feeling at the moment. So yeah,
Going, flying, fighting, you know,
Yeah.
you have that spirit.
yes, definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything that
Yes.
is there anything that I haven't asked?
Okay.
I mean, I feel like there's so many things that we could talk about, but
Yeah,
equally,
yeah.
I'm very mindful that, you know, we should focus on the priority, which is acting.
Yeah.
And then the other bits that kind of complement it.
Right.
But because, you know, it's very hard to interview someone like you as well, who has so many experience and hats in so many different things. Kati कुराहरु त we've worked together on various Nepali community stuff,
100%.
events, campaigning as well. You know, you have experience working with people of all different ages within the Nepali community as well.
Yeah.
And maybe my one question is, before I ask you to just talk about something, is आफ्नो एक्सपिरियन्समा चाहिँ होइन समाज र हाम्रो नेपाली कम्युनिटी, नेपाली डायस्पोरा अहिले जुन ठाउँमा छौँ युकेमा चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ आफ्नो नजरमा चाहिँ कस्तो देखिरहेछौ होइन, किनभने अब धेरै एजको मान्छेहरूसँग काम गर्न अवसर पाएको पनि छ.
That's a very difficult question. Regarding my perspective towards this society is always progressive. एकदम धेरै कुरा राम्रो भएको छ जस्तो लाग्छ, तर अझै धेरै राम्रो हुन पनि बाँकी छ. In terms of like a community को युनिफिकेसन्सहरूमा पहिला जति हामी स्क्याटर्ड भएर बसिरहेको थियौँ, जति सेग्रिगेटेड थियो, अहिले धेरै नै युनिफाइड भएको छौँ धेरै नै कुराहरूबाट. Be it organizing festival or like being together for like different things, going out like abroad, hiking, people taking part in the sports, communal aspects, but like being together for films, त्यो कुराहरू चाहिँ एकदमै, and also being together for educational things like mentoring, mentees, like we kind of like form those such a very nice system हाम्रो नेपाली कम्युनिटीमा भएको छ कि अहिले जस्तो लाग्छ पहिलाको भन्दा. पहिला अब if we have to reflect back on like last 10 years, a decade ago, then we didn't have as much of a support system. एउटा मेन्टर मेन्टी भन्ने कुराहरू पनि थिएन. अनि एउटा अहिले ठुलो दाइ दिदीहरूको पनि त्यतिखेर चाहिँ they were in a transition phase as well, like so उहाँहरूबाट learn गरौँ भने पनि because they were struggling themselves as well, like so they were not able to like share what they've gone through. अहिले चाहिँ अब भाइ बहिनी आउने भाइ बहिनीहरू पनि like they are so educational, they have like experienced so many things as well. So त्यो कुराबाट चाहिँ communal aspects बाट अनि charitable aspects बाट पनि so many NGO, so many INGO are kind of coming together. Now people know how to bid for funding. UK मा funding होस् या नेपालमा remittance पठाउने होस्, त्यो एउटा च्यानलहरू सबै भइसकेको छ जस्तो लाग्छ. तर having said that, there's still so many things to do in terms of like, let's just for example say like a Gurkha pension rights. We're still fighting for that even till now. They just had a discussion like last a week ago. But then it's still on a discussion, so lots of things for Nepali community त्यो चाहिँ हुन बाँकी छ, राम्रो हुन बाँकी छ जस्तो लाग्छ. सो अहिलेको हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अहिले मेरो दृष्टिकोणबाट हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's progressive, but yet there's so many things to be done yet as well.
That's a good way and a nice way to summarize, I guess, your personal observations of the community, especially coming from someone who has been involved in so many different tiers and levels of the community.
Yeah, that reminds me of like the time we worked with for Live for Change.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, because we worked on. I think you and me, like, we worked on separately and also like combined effort, like in so many different charities in like in the UK for Nepali communities. Just Laksa, and it was. I always felt grateful to be part of it. Even now, like if I have to be part of like any of the charitable projects, I always feel grateful to be part of it, because it just gives you meaning to what you are. Also, if you are impacting the society in a positive manner, then why not?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we did / you did a great job with the health camps as well. During Live for Change, which was back in 2010, 12, voilà, 12.
Was it 2012?
Or
Yeah,
11, 12 did I?
Yeah,
remember the
11,
yellow
12,
t-shirts, yellow polo shirts.
Yeah, yellow t-shirts.
They
Yeah,
were,
that was like beautiful moment though. Yeah.
I mean,
I think after that, like you invented Trace in Nepal, right?
2014.
2014.
So
I think like we were doing charity till 2013 actually. So yeah, that was the last project that we went to Rashua. Nepalma Rasuam Pugera, like we did like a health camp, free health camp there. Yeah, it was a beautiful moment then. Yeah. Right.
So it's like in life, there's in a way, if you create time, there's enough time to do all these different things.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I always
you are an example of that.
Yeah, I always associate like when we were studying like Stanoma study गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ especially नेपालमा चाहिँ हाम्रो we used to have like a 13 different subjects अनि सबै पढ्नै पर्थ्यो नि. So like you have a separate time for each and everything as well. So I think like life is similar as well. If you give time enough, you have like separate time as well. Like obviously it just depends on you, like where you want to ace it, which subject you want to ace it भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ पछि आउँछ जस्तो लाग्छ. तर if you're given time to each of them, you have time for it.
Yeah, definitely. So
yes,
is there anything that you want to talk about, or something that I may not
I think
not
like
have
we
touched
covered
on?
a lot.
We might confuse our listeners. They might be like, wait, is this the same person? Acting, dancing, event organizing, community engagement.
Yeah, it's the same person indeed. Yeah.
Right?
It's just so many
poetry
layers
as well.
So many layers, so many things we talked about. I think like I don't know, do we have anything left to say? I think like we have loads of things left to say, but like we can do for part 2 if there is any.
Yeah, maybe part 2, part 3,
Yeah, but then especially now I just want to leave a good note ma चाहिँ probably अहिले भर्खरैको भाइ बहिनीहरू नेपाली भाइ बहिनीहरूलाई चाहिँ there's so many opportunities now, they're out there जस्तो लाग्छ, in any field that you want to go to, whether that's conventional, unconventional. अनि there are so many seniors who have already done and tested and gone through so many experience. So just reach out to any of the seniors, like whichever field that you want to go to. I think there are like loads of us in different sector, who can give you really nice advice, and for the social mobility as well. I think it will help a lot.
Love that.
Hmm.
Merging Nepsok.
Oh yes, merging Nepsok. Oh my god, I think like yeah, we had
But I was just
yeah.
like, if I start that topic,
Oh yes,
no.
yeah. Merging
There's a
Nepsok
lot.
has been something very dear to me as well.
Uh-huh.
I haven't been able to put time and effort now for last 2 years, but yeah, it's been something like we were trying to give a platform to younger generations for the social mobility with a sense of belonging.
Pawan will be very happy.
Yeah, Pawan. Yeah, I love that man. He's so energetic.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being such a wonderful guest and sharing so much of, bits of your life story with our listeners today on Action with podcast.
Thank you. It's been an honor. Seriously, it's been an honor. We talked about this to do this for a very long time,
Of
and
course.
just with the time and schedule. I'm so sorry that we finally managed to do it. And
Right. It's
yeah,
hard to track down a busy person.
yeah. It's hard to track down a focused person.
Yeah. Love it.
Yes.
Not busy, but focused. You know?
Yeah.
All right.
No, yeah.
Okay, on that note, thank you so much to everyone for listening to this podcast with Samir Gurung. And a last shout out to all the wonderful sponsors and podcast partners: A-Star Financial Solutions UK, Taptap Sent, New Laxmi Jewelers, Nepali Music Festival 2022, and Nepal Authentic Dining. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to rate us 5 out of 5 wherever you're listening to us from. Thank you and bye.
Hey, bye.